These days, I don't have to tell anyone viewing or listening to the program right now that parents have a lot to contend with when it comes to protecting the innocence of their children. But great news, help may be on the way. In this Congress, a bill has been reintroduced which would protect children from one of the worst and unfortunately one of the most prolific plagues in modern society, and that would be internet pornography. Well, how will this kind of a bill fare in Congress? And really more importantly, how would it impact our children? Well, joining me now to discuss this is Illinois Representative Mary Miller. She is the sponsor of this act. Congresswoman Miller is a member of the Committee on Agriculture as well as the Committee on Education and Workforce. She represents the 15th District of the great state of Illinois. Representative Miller, welcome back to Washington Watch. Always an honor to have you.
Well, thank you so much. And like you said, today, Senator Mike Lee and I introduced the bill shielding children's retinas from egregious exposure on the Net Act, more easily referred to as the Screen Act. And as you know, I'm the mom of 7 and big news, going to be the grandma of 22. But I understand what parents are up against now that the cell phone is in practically everybody's hands and blockers and filters are not working. So this bill is going to require the porn websites to use age verification methods.
So how would that work? Is there any way for a child to lie about their age? Or, I mean, when there's age verification, what does that look like?
Yeah, it's super interesting. There's multiple ways to do it. And I think it's going to be very effective. And what was introduced to me is that it's not going to violate people's privacy. They've actually come out with technology where the screen would show a hand and you have to put your hand up and do different movements. And that technology can identify the age of the child.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that was one of the questions that I had with an individual asking me, how do they know? How could, and I didn't know the answer.
Right.
So that is incredible to have that kind of technology and to utilize it to protect children. So the goal here is to protect children.
Right.
What would happen if it is determined that a child is underage? By law, what would be required of these web sites?
Well, they're going to have to use that or they'll be liable for exposing children to indecent materials. And I'll have to come back on another time. I don't think we'll have time to explain the technology better and the other methods there are. There are multiple ways of identifying because say an adult is on or wants to access it and they have some kind of disability, there are other methods, but it is going to be effective. And we need to do this. The government should have a compelling interest in protecting its citizens, but especially the most vulnerable, which would be our children. And I'm sure you and the listeners know that the pornography online keeps going lower into the gutter. It's very degrading and it's become violent and just very gross, and it causes it has a life-altering impact on the children. It interferes with normal sexual development. It causes depression, addiction, risky sexual behavior, and just lifelong problems for the child.
Well, I saw there's a memo, in fact, from your office says that the average age of a child exposed to pornography is 11. That right. Is stunning.
Well, actually, down to age 8 now. They're finding it accidentally. And in the U.S., 80% of children and teens in the U.S. between the age of 12 and 17 have been exposed to pornography.
Incredible. We've only got just a minute or so left. How much support does this have?
I think not enough support. We're going to have to work on it because people are worried about privacy things. So they need to be informed about how we're going to identify that the child is under 18. And we do have the technology and the methods to do that. So once people become assured of that, I believe it will pass. Who would vote against this? We have to protect our children. This is a rot in our nation.
Absolutely. About 1 minute left, real quickly. Title IX,
yes.
Protecting. Tell us real quickly what you're doing, what you think is going to happen here on this issue.
Well, of course, President Trump I've been leading from day one when I've been out, in my first term out here. But now President Trump has taken the lead. I think one of the reasons he won was that this is a wildly popular issue with Americans. They don't want men and boys in their girls' sports or their private spaces. I love the public takedown that he gave to the governor of Maine, and I hope he does it to the governor of Illinois, because he's also balking against President Trump's executive orders. And we're going to make sure we put a stop to this. For those that don't know, we have a trans congressman. I refuse to refer to him as a woman. And
Got to leave it there.
Okay.
Congresswoman Mary Miller, honored to serve with you. Thank you for your incredible leadership, and thank you for joining us today on Washington Watch.